Every morning, thousands of people in Caracas, Venezuela, woke up before the sun. They walked to the bus stop in the dark. They waited for the bus that would take them to work. And every morning, a young man with a thick mustache sat behind the wheel of that bus. His name was Nicolás Maduro. He was 25 years old. He earned very little money. He lived in a small apartment, and he had no idea that one day he would control an entire nation. But here is the strange truth. The country he would lead would fall into one of the worst economic crises in modern history. Millions of people would leave, and the world would ask one question: how did a bus driver become one of the most powerful and controversial men on earth? To understand that question, we must go back to the beginning. Nicolás Maduro Moros was born on November 23, 1962, in a poor neighborhood of Caracas called El Valle. The streets were crowded, the buildings were old, the families were large, and money was always a problem. His father, Nicolás Maduro Garcia, worked hard. He was a union leader. That means he helped workers fight for better pay and better treatment. Young Nicolas watched his father organize meetings. He saw workers come together. He heard speeches about fairness and rights. These moments stayed with him. They planted a seed in his mind. Maybe, he thought, ordinary people can change things. Maybe they just need someone to lead them. But life was not easy. His family did not have much. Nicolas did not finish traditional school like other children. He struggled. He searched for direction, and when he was a teenager, something unexpected happened. He discovered politics. At first, it was small. He joined student groups. He read books about revolution. He talked about changing the world, but talking is not the same as doing. He needed a job. He needed money. So, like many young men in Caracas, he became a bus driver. The Caracas metro system was busy. The city was loud and fast. Nicolas drove his bus through traffic every single day. He saw the rich neighborhoods with beautiful houses. He saw the poor neighborhoods with broken roads. He saw the gap between those who had everything and those who had nothing. And every day, that gap made him angrier. He later said that driving the bus taught him more than any school. He learned about real people, real problems, real pain. But here is what nobody expected. The bus was not his destination. It was just the beginning. While driving, Nicolas continued his political activities. He became a union leader, just like his father. He organized other bus drivers. He fought for better conditions. He made speeches. And slowly, people began to notice him. But the real turning point came when he heard about a man named Hugo Chávez. Chavez was a soldier. He was loud. He was bold. He promised to help the poor. In 1992, Chavez tried to take control of the government by force. He failed. He went to prison. But to many poor Venezuelans, he became a hero. And young Nicolás Maduro believed in him completely. When Chavez was released from prison, Maduro was ready. He joined Chavez's political movement. He worked hard. He was loyal. He did whatever Chavez asked. And Chavez noticed over the years Maduro rose higher and higher. He became a member of the National Assembly. He became the Speaker of the Assembly. Then, in 2006, something big happened. Chavez made Maduro the foreign minister of Venezuela. Wait, think about that for a moment. A man who once drove a bus through the streets of Caracas was now representing his country around the world. He met presidents. He met kings. He traveled to countries he had only read about. It seemed like a dream come true. But power comes with a price, and Maduro was about to learn that lesson in the most painful way. For years, Chavez dominated Venezuela. He controlled the oil, he controlled the media, he controlled almost everything. But in 2011, Chavez announced something terrible. He had cancer. The strong leader who seemed unbreakable was now fighting for his life. Maduro stayed by his side. He traveled with Chavez to Cuba for treatment. He held his hand during dark nights in the hospital, and in October 2012, Chavez made a decision that would change Maduro's life forever. He chose Maduro as his vice president. He said if anything happened, Maduro should continue his work. The message was clear. Maduro was next. On March 5, 2013, Hugo Chávez died. The country cried. Millions of people filled the streets. They had lost their leader, and suddenly Nicolás Maduro was in charge. Perhaps he felt afraid. Perhaps he felt ready. We do not know exactly what he thought, but we know what he said. He promised to continue Chávez's work. He promised to protect the poor. He promised a better future. And maybe you have felt this too. That moment when something huge is placed on your shoulders, when everyone is watching, when you must prove yourself. Maduro faced that moment. The question was simple. Could he do it? The answer came quickly. And it was not good. Venezuela's economy depended almost entirely on oil. For years, oil prices were high. The government had money. They spent it on programs for the poor, food, housing, medicine. But they did not plan for the future. They did not save. They did not diversify. And when oil prices crashed in 2014, everything fell apart. Inflation exploded. Prices went up every day. People could not afford bread. They could not afford medicine. Hospitals ran out of supplies. Store shelves became empty. The beautiful dream of a rich Venezuela turned into a nightmare. Maduro blamed others. He said foreign countries were attacking Venezuela. He said enemies were sabotaging the economy. But many people did not believe him. They saw corruption. They saw bad decisions. They saw leaders getting rich while ordinary families starved. The protests began. First, students took to the streets, then workers, then entire neighborhoods. They demanded change. They demanded food. They demanded freedom. And the government responded with force. People were arrested. Some were hurt. Some disappeared. The world watched in horror. Countries around the globe criticized Maduro. They called him a dictator. They placed sanctions on Venezuela. They froze bank accounts. They tried to pressure him to leave. But Maduro did not leave. He held on to power. He changed the constitution. He created new courts. He controlled the military. Every time it seemed like he would fall, he found a way to survive. In 2018, there was an election. Maduro won. But most countries said the election was not fair. They said the opposition was blocked. They said votes were manipulated. A man named Juan Guaido declared himself the real president. Over 50 countries recognized Guaido, but Maduro still controlled the army. He still controlled the government buildings. He still had power. There is a lesson here. Power is not just about votes. It is about control. It is about loyalty. It is about who has the guns. Maduro understood this, and he used it. Meanwhile, the people of Venezuela suffered. By 2020, over 5 million Venezuelans had left their country. They walked across borders. They carried children on their backs. They slept in bus stations in Colombia. They begged for food in Peru. It became one of the largest refugee crises in the history of South America. Perhaps Maduro felt guilt. Perhaps he truly believed he was protecting his country. From the outside, we cannot see inside his heart. But we can see the results. We can see the empty cities. We can see the hungry children. We can see the broken dream. Today, Nicolás Maduro remains in power. He still controls Venezuela. The economy has stabilized slightly, but the damage is deep. Millions are still gone. Trust is broken, and the future remains uncertain. His story is not a simple one. It is not a story of a hero. It is not a story of a villain. It is a story of a man who wanted change, who found power, and who could not handle the weight of it. Or perhaps it is a story about a system that was already broken, and he simply made it worse. And maybe there is something here for all of us, a warning, a reminder. Power is dangerous. Good intentions are not enough. When you reach for control, you must ask yourself one question: can I truly help, or will I only make things worse? The boy from El Valle wanted to change the world. He drove a bus. He joined a movement. He became president. And now the world looks at Venezuela and wonders what could have been, what should have been, what still might be. This is the story of Nicolás Maduro, and it is far from over.